doesn't that do anything to change her view where she goes...
Because they're true believers. They're fellow travelers. Right. They're nuts. Professor George Lakoff at University of California, Berkeley, what a surprise, says that people who don't believe in global warming, it's a result of some mental illness where they don't have cognitive brain function. That's the reason. And it goes on to talk about how this could apply to abortion and other issues. He said liberals have a cognitive brain process that allows them to be open-minded, which conservatives don't have.
Yeah, their brains fall out when you're open-minded. Right?
This global warming, one of the biggest scams. Everything we're dealing with was scam. I tell you, and people think Enron was bad. I'm convinced global warming is worse than Enron.
Absolutely.
A whole lot of people are making money off of this thing, but sooner or later the bubble is going to burst.
And not only that, but people are being harmed by it. Not just some people making money, but other people being harmed by it. People are losing jobs. Yep. I could go into a long thing, for example, about Freon, where they took Freon. Yes. I talked to you about that the other night. People are not paying attention to what happened when they took Freon off the market. Now they're admitting Freon had nothing to do with the ozone layer, but Freon is costing people their lives. The lack of Freon is costing people their lives. We could spend all day talking about that, but we need to start holding these liberals' feet to the fire.
Yes.
They'll come out here and they say these things and they'll get these things going like global warming. Then when it turns out to be a scam, they just, oh, well, and they go on to the next thing. We don't hold their feet to the fire.
Now it's climate change.
Oh, yeah, it's not global warming, it's climate change. Yeah. So,
BPC.
Especially when they had the global warming thing and God just decided to show up and show off. Had a global, you know, when they were having, was it in Copenhagen? Where were they having a global warming?
Yeah.
And it was one of the coldest days in the round.
Right. Right.
Well, our favorite, I'm sure it's all of our favorite networks here at this table, MTV.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know, that one that used to show music videos. I don't even know what they show now, but one thing they have on there is a show called 16 and Pregnant. Isn't that great? The feminists are whining about it because it's kind of one of those reality shows where the 16-year-old's pregnant and they follow her around and see how her life is, and they regret being pregnant, all those things. But they're whining because the feminists are saying, where are the pregnant teens who choose not to stay pregnant? Why aren't there abortions shown on here? And which I had to go, I'm kind of surprised there hasn't been, really. And then when I think about some of the recent movies in memory that had to do with being pregnant, there was Juno and, sorry, but the title's knocked up. That's the name of it. But none of it ended in abortion. I've always been surprised.
And what they're saying is, what these leftists are saying, and the now cows and so forth, is that they need to show balance and show some women having abortions. Again, I thought it was about choice. What if these women choose not to have abortions? In other words, again, the issue is not choice. The issue is abortion.
Well, I wonder if it wouldn't shoot them in the foot if they showed the brutal reality. Number one, what really happens in an abortion, like Silent Scream, maybe they would put that on there. And then two, the aftermath, the guilt and the pain and all of that. But they're not going to show all that.
Well, I've always said it on a deal like that. Okay, if I were arguing with one of these lefties or these pro-abort people, I'd say, okay, I tell you what, let's do. Let's show a girl who has an abortion, and 30 minutes before she has this abortion, we do an ultrasound. And we show that baby on the ultrasound screen. After the abortion, we show that baby in the Petri dish. You okay with that? There's no way on God's green earth they're going to go along with that. There's no way. By the way, we've got changes in the healthcare system now. We're starting to see where they're saying, okay, doctors won't be able to not participate in certain parts of the national health care thing, or they will not be able to get federal funding. In other words, if they don't get federal funding, then they'll be out of business. They won't be doctors any longer. The Obama administration right now is laying the groundwork, and you can clearly see it in all these things that are happening, to force doctors to do abortions, because they know if doctors are given the option to do abortions, they won't. And what they're doing right now, they're going to force these doctors to do abortions. That you can see this in many things that are happening.
This healthcare thing, that's all it's always been about.
It's been about abortion.
It's been about abortion. If they didn't have it in that, you know, they had a House version, they had a Senate version. They passed that, they rammed that Senate version with the abortion in it. And you know, I've talked to a couple of medical people because I have to go to HealthPlex and do some things, you know, for my rehab. And I was shocked at the number of health professionals that said, I'm seriously thinking about getting out of the business.
Yeah. Well, what brought this up is there was a Dr. Jack Castle, who's now, he's a urologist, and he put a sign on his door. And I'm not saying this is the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do. He just did that. He said, if you voted for Obama, seek urologic care elsewhere. Changes in your health care begin right here, not in 4 years. And now the authorities are saying, that the Obama administration is saying people that do things like this will not be able to be paid under the Obama health care program. And that's what I'm saying. They're laying the groundwork where a doctor, even if you disagree with what this guy did, he has a right to do that. He has a right to treat the patients he wants to treat and to do the procedures he wants to do today. But very shortly, they'll be telling this same doctor, look, you got a sheepskin on the wall. A woman comes in here for an abortion. It's a legal procedure. It's paid for under the national health care system. You're going to do it.
This is Nazi Germany. This is communist. This is the government demanding. I tell you, I hope some doctors go to jail for not doing abortion.
I do too. I asked my OB-GYN a long time ago when Clinton was president, which we thought he might bring in forced abortion or something, and boy, he looks good now, doesn't he?
Clinton, yeah.
Wouldn't we like to have Clinton? But I said, but doctor, what if they make you do abortions? He goes, no one will ever make me do an abortion, never. And he meant it. And so I just, when I hear this, I wonder.
Most of them will cave.
He won't, but some will, yeah.
Yeah, most of them would cave. Because they're not going to go through all the expense and the hell of getting a medical school education and then say, you know, I'm going to go out here and change tires at Walmart or something, you know. You know, so most of them will cave before the thing is over.
Well, here's one. Speaking of Nazi Germany and whatnot, you know, I had occasion to be in the security line at the airport. We've all done it, and the security guys holler and shoes off, line up, and I know, and my husband's going, yes, Commandant. You know, it sounded like we are going to the chambers, you know, the trains. But this in China, I think this is pretty scary. China is arresting. They arrested 10,000 parents so they can sterilize them.
Against their will. Against
their will. And if they don't report for the sterilization, because they've either had 1 or 2 children, they'll hold their elderly parents till they report to come in and get sterilized.
But and everybody and the pro-aborts constantly talk about the using China as an example of a model that we should follow in the United States for population control. And if people think that this is far-fetched here in the United States, they are nuts. Matter of fact, the fact that they think it's far-fetched is the reason that it'll happen.
Well, this line got me. It says the county intends to sterilize over 9,000 women and their husbands who are suspected of planning to have a second or third child. Yep. What are they, thought police too? You know, geez.
That's where we're headed right there. And, you know, if you think that these and Planned Parenthood people have constantly said that China is a role model for the rest of the world to follow as far as population control. In the Stupak sellout, when Bart Stupak, who claimed to be pro-life but is in fact turned out to be a liar, the compromise that was brokered between him and the Obama White House was accomplished by a guy named Robert Bauer, B-A-U-R, and he was the one who brokered the compromise between Obama administration and Bart Stupak that got him to vote for the health care. He was a lobbyist for the Planned Parenthood Action Fund.
Whoa. No, we won't have no lobbyists in this administration.
Oh, no, we're not going to do that. You know, we're out of time, but you know something that's interesting is when Bart Stupak was still claiming to be pro-life, he said he was receiving death threats and he was feared for his family. People were threatening to kill all his kids and so forth. The media never covered that. Mm-hmm. But the second that he flopped over and went back to his pro-abortion roots, mm-hmm. then he claimed he started getting threats from the pro-lifers. That was the lead story on the evening news. And, you know, it's amazing how people think that there's not bias in the media. Or if anybody thinks that, I mean, they're obviously an idiot.
Well, did the news stories that Alan talked about, I'm going, why didn't I hear that? I didn't hear it on any network.
No, you don't. And that's why we do them here. We are ripe when you look at what the media is doing. They are a lapdog for the Obama administration. More so even than other liberal Democratic administrations. Even, I think the Clintons are probably jealous of the treatment that the Obama administration is getting by the press.
And CNN was even labeled Clinton News Network.
Right, right.
It is now.
It is scary, and this thing is happening so fast. It's just incredible. And you know, one of the things that, and like I said, we're out of time here, but I've got to make this point. I'm afraid that the Republicans are going to overplay their hand here. I think they're already counting November as a win. They've already got it. They're already counting those chickens.
They better win first.
They better be careful. And I want to point out something. Thomas Sowell had an article in the paper today that I thought was real insightful. I hadn't thought about this, but he's absolutely right. He said, right now the Republicans are counting, they're saying that the healthcare debacle is going to take the Democrats out in November. It spells the end of the Democratic Party, and it means Obama can't get reelected in 2012 and so forth. 2 months ago, those exact same people were saying that the election of Scott in Massachusetts ended the health care deal, right? It was over. Those same people were saying that then. It didn't.
Still went sailing through, didn't it?
You know, it's not in the bag till it's in the bag. And I suspect that after that win up in Massachusetts, where they thought, okay, that's the 60th vote, they can't pass health care is dead. We heard all that, right? Over the next week or so, health care is dead. I think probably what happened is the Republicans went to sleep thinking that they had the victory, and the Democrats said, you know what, we can still pull this thing out. Yeah. And they got to work behind the scenes and pulled it out. That better be a model for them to use for November and for 2012.
I just hope they don't forget, because we got a while to get to November.
Well, you know, this is the most frightening time in my 62 years. This is the most frightening time in American history. Bar, yes, 62. Can you believe that? It's amazing. I look like I'm in the 30s or something.
Oh,
you know.
absolutely.
But it is the most frightening time. You start going around the country and talking to people. People are scared. People are angry. This country is more divided right now than it's ever been, and it's getting more divided with each passing day. And and I'll tell you something right now, I believe.
It gets better.
Yep. If the American people don't throw these bums out in November, in other words, if they reelect incumbents like they've done in the past, this country's in real trouble. Yep. Because if the American people look at what these people are doing and say, well, I'm okay with that, we're done. Yeah. Stick us with a fork.
Yep.
We'll be right back. Over the last few years, polls have consistently shown that the American people are becoming more and more pro-life. Many in the abortion lobby say the reason for this has been their failure to remove the stigma from abortion and mainstream it into society. This is a problem they have known about for a long time, and they've tried several ways to address it. For example, a couple of years ago, they introduced a campaign in which they offered T-shirts for sale with the saying, "I had an abortion," emblazoned across the front. This effort was a colossal